She is, but just in case you are not one of her 80 million plus TikTok followers, nearly 40 million Instagram followers, then it is absolutely time for you to meet Addison Rae. So let's get started. Hi, Addison.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited and can't wait to chat.
I am so excited to chat with you. I have a million questions. I find your career fascinating and I am ready to learn a lot from you. So first, just to start off, this is kind of an old, tired cliche that certainly I don't believe in, but you still hear a lot of people saying that social media stars are just kind of famous for being famous. You have obviously defied that. You have a hugely successful and lucrative career. So what would you say to that notion?
It makes sense. It makes sense why people could say that. And I think, times are changing and evolving, and more people are relying on social media as a career, and it's opened up so many opportunities for people that maybe even in a traditional standpoint have started to, come over to social media and doing things in that world instead of, I guess the traditional route. Like I was saying, like there's so many opportunities that social media has opened up, and it's a way bigger industry now overall than it ever was before. And I think it's kind of just the way that the world's changing a little bit, and it's giving everyone a chance to kind of find new ways to interact. And I think over the course of the past year, where the pandemic has been a part of our lives and a factor that we kind of couldn't control, social media became more prevalent. And I think people were putting their eyes on different creators and different figures that are primarily on social media simply for the form of entertainment.
Absolutely. And I mean, I would imagine you essentially grew up with social media, at least in your teenage years. I think a lot of people might be surprised to know how young you are, if you're comfortable sharing your age.
I am only 20. I'm 20 years old. I will be 21 in October though, so I'm growing up, but slowly.
Almost ready for that first drink. But I mean, it really is incredible how much you have done in such a short amount of time. At least, the last 5 years, social media has really blown up to become a legitimate career for individuals like yourself, but also certainly one that Hollywood has recognized. Talent agencies have formed new departments to represent people like yourself. So I'm wondering, did you kind of see this happening in your teenage years? And did you think, oh, I could have a career on social media? Or did it just kind of happen organically and was a surprise to you?
I feel like when I was younger, and even just throughout the past, like you were saying, the past 5 years, even in middle school for me, whenever social media was kind of first popping into my life in a sense, I was always a very creative person. I loved Pinterest and I loved Tumblr. I was one of the kids that always was on Tumblr, making blog posts, and even Flickr. I remember taking photos in my backyard and uploading them. And I think, it's just kind of a part of a overall creative standpoint of sharing things with people. And, I think it's evolving very quickly and changing with the times, finding connections with people, meeting people, and really getting to know people that enjoy the same things as me. And so I always loved, being able to use social media as a chance to do that and display things that I'm passionate about and put those out for the world to see. And it definitely happened to me the way it did, very organically and unintentionally. I wouldn't say I ever, planned on being as involved in social media as I am, but I always did dream of being an actress and being involved in music and being an artist and being considered a part of the creative industry or entertainment industry. As a matter of fact, I always have loved and enjoyed sharing myself and my life and my experiences with everyone around me, and really using that as a chance to give people insight on just the way that I think everyone's life is so different, and being able to share that with the world has been one of my favorite things. And also while doing the things that I really love and have passions for, such as, acting, music, like I said, makeup. I feel like all of the above are just things that I've always been very involved in and grown up around, and being able to use social media kind of as the core and as the basis of sharing all the things that I love, has been the best part for me.
You obviously have a really exciting, huge role with He's All That on Netflix, but I want to get a bit more of a sense of how this all started for you. So can you kind of walk me through like your first TikTok, and then when you realized that things were really blowing up and things were changing, and at what point did you realize, wow, this can be my actual job, like this can be my career?
I downloaded TikTok in the summer of 2019. I had just graduated high school and I was going into college, and I kind of was like going into a town that I had never lived in or didn't really know anyone from. So I was like, okay, fine. Like I didn't know, what else to do with my time. So I was like, let me just start a TikTok and post videos with my friends. And I knew a lot of people from my high school that had TikTok, and I always, loved to dance. I grew up a competitive dancer. So seeing like a platform kind of come up with so much emphasis on music and on dancing, I was like, you know what, why not? Of course I'll, try it out. So I did. And then I ended up posting a few videos with my friends, just very casual. And if you go back and look at my TikTok, you can see that I never really put too much thought behind my stuff in the beginning. And I was really just having fun with my friends. And then I kind of started to realize that, it was a platform where people could really see the things that I enjoy. And so I started to use those as a way to kind of communicate that to people whenever people did start paying attention to my videos a little bit more. And I had a video with my mom that Mariah Carey had ended up liking, and it was very random. And it kind of put into perspective for me that social media is such a big platform that anyone can really notice you from it. And even seeing that Mariah Carey had liked my video, I was like, wow, maybe this is my chance to get in front of people that are involved in the industry that I always wanted to work in, and then kind of using that as a stepping stone to really put myself in front of the people that I always dreamt of working with.
I grew up as a competitive dancer, so we share that in common, and I totally understand that world. So when you started, you said you obviously did that TikTok with your mom, but you also obviously got known for your dancing. I'm curious, how do you think that your content has evolved from the time that you started to today, a few years later?
I think I maybe show a little bit more of myself now, and my real not my real personality, but like realness that comes with being, just a 20-year-old girl. And I think that's been something that I've emphasized a little bit more. I feel like in the beginning on social media, I would try, to be a little more reserved, and like I didn't know what was okay to do, or I think social media, along with the opportunities it brings, it does bring a platform for people to speak their mind, and sometimes that is in a negative way and can be really hurtful. But I've learned to kind of get over that hump of like not wanting to maybe show like my insecurities or my flaws or things that I'm embarrassed of, and kind of now more than ever I've been like, this is me, and you either love it or hate it, and at the end of the day, I'm just going to always remember who I am and try to show that in the most accurate representation, and always remember that, at the end of the day, as long as I'm feeling super excited and happy about the things that I'm doing, that's kind of all that matters.
Is it tough though to deal with the negativity? Because as you said, you kind of just have to get used to it and brush it off. But I would imagine with a platform of your size, it's constant. And also something that we see on TikTok is sometimes people kind of feed off of the negativity, like the negative comments get a lot of likes, so people do it more. So is that challenging for you to deal with and to have to kind of see every day?
Yeah, it is. And I think, like you were saying, with platforms as big as TikTok now has become, it kind of does become like a little bit of like a bandwagon to hate. And I think people realize that, negative comments sometimes get more attention than a positive comment. And it does suck that that's kind of the world we're living in right now, is where, people do kind of project a lot of hate onto people that they don't even really know. Or I see like a viral video nowadays and I'll look at the comments and, people just really like to tear people down and like pick apart their appearance and pick apart kind of small things that I've never really would have ever noticed otherwise, or like even that I wouldn't as a person have ever pointed out. As toxic as the internet has become or is right now, I think there's only up from there. And that's kind of what I kind of try to tell myself is, you know, it's not going to be like this forever. I think the internet has become a really toxic place. And I think it's because so many people throughout the pandemic kind of didn't have much else to do with their time besides really, you know, pick apart other people or maybe reflect their feelings onto something they maybe saw on the internet. And negativity always will hurt and affect you, especially whenever people decide to kind of point out things that you're already kind of insecure about or like maybe already questioning about yourself. And it's really hard in a world where people rely so heavily on what people say about them and really listen to it. And it doesn't necessarily get any easier, but you kind of learn how to love yourself a little bit harder for the people that like to tear you down.
And obviously, you know, with anything, especially in a public forum, there's the good and the bad. And with social media, you know, we could talk for hours about some of the negativity that comes with it, but there's also obviously a lot of positivity. And I think even now, like you speaking up about how you deal with that. Everyone deals with bullying on whatever scale it is in their life. And you now have this platform where you can really be this positive role model, especially for young women. But I'm curious, who are some positive female role models in your life? Is there anyone in this industry that has been a mentor to you or you've gone to advice as you're kind of on this journey of growing your career?
You know, an obvious one would be Courtney. She is an incredible mom, incredible friend, an incredible role model. And she has always been there, you know, even in tough times, she's been there for me to ask questions, or she's always really had an emphasis on like mental health and making sure that your soul is good and your soul is okay and you feel good. And that's kind of how she lives her life is like, you know, at the end of the day, she knows who she is and she's strong in that. And that's kind of been something that I've looked up to and tried to mimic in my own life and my career is like, at the end of the day, there are always going to be people that don't like something you do. But if you know you love it and have a passion for it and you remember who you are and know your intentions, that you can, you know, never really listen to those people and just try to ignore them as best as you can. I think there are so many people that have really used their platforms to kind of promote, you know, mental health and how important that is. And I think there's really only so much you can do to control how negative other people are. And at the end of the day, you really just have to sit back and take care of your own self and your own mind mentally just to really, you know, strengthen